Some folks in the comments of my Star Trek The Next Generation half measure videos suggested I do a behind the scenes set of videos on how I'm creating it. And I liked that idea, so I thought I might take a whack at doing one of these, and if people like it, I'll do more. As of this recording, I just released Act 1 of Half Measure, which contains scenes 5 through 9. That act has the crew trying to understand the dilemma that is Mira, who they discover on a severely damaged Vulcan ship. In that episode, Dr. Crusher makes a comment about a Vulcan defector who was one of Mira's creators, and Data, being Data, tries to clarify a feeling Crusher has by aligning the conversation towards something more neutral, and Crusher briefly snaps at him. So Act 2 opens with scene 10, where Geordi swings by to chat with Data a little bit about where Crusher might be coming from, and it's actually an important scene, I think, because it helps Data work things out with Dr. Crusher. Now, I don't want to spoil the scene, but luckily the first shot in scene 10 is no spoiler at all. It's Data in his quarters, and the door chime goes off, and Data says, "Enter." Then Geordi comes in, and they have a conversation. But the initial shot is just that bit. So the steps here are to create an image, animate that image, add audio to it, and potentially add secondary audio. Strangely, the property I've used at the moment that generates pretty good results, even though there's a little bit of facial changing, is ChatGPT. So I can use ChatGPT directly, which I do sometimes, but at the moment I've been using a tool called FreePic, which allows me to do unlimited image generations on the plan that I'm on. So in my case, I can write a prompt for it like draw commander Data, but I likely won't get the kind of shot I'm looking for. So over time, I've started to develop certain prompting techniques and verbiage, which I save and use. So here, for example, you can see I have a fairly detailed description of the kind of image I'm looking for. Now, in a later shot in the scene, I want Geordi visible. So I have this prompt that is an over-the-shoulder shot, and I want to keep Data looking consistent throughout the scene. So what I'm going to do is use an image that has Geordi, and then remove him for this shot, but have him present for subsequent shots. Now, once I get the image I'm looking for, which might take 2 or 3 or 5 generations, I'm going to take it into Photoshop to remove Geordi from it. After running it a few times, I get the image that I want. So I'll take it to Photoshop and improve the coloring as ChatGPT adds lots of yellows and browns to the image. Then I'll crop it to a 4:3 view to match the 90s TV aspect ratio. And for this particular shot, I'll remove Geordi. Now, I like the image, but for the video, I want more from it. I want Data to look up when he hears the door chime, and I want him to be busy before that, like he's being interrupted. So what I'm going to do is take this photo, put it into an image to video generator, and prompt for exactly that. AI video generation is really hit or miss on prompt adherence, and it certainly isn't smart enough yet for me to say, have Data look busy, then stop, then look up slightly at 1.5 seconds. So knowing that, I'll have to run this maybe twice or 3 times to get him to just look up without it looking strange. So I've got a video now, and he's looking up, and that looks pretty good, except that Data's looking up right away. So what I want now is another video where he's mid-work on his desk, and I want that video to end with this starting image. Now, generating a video with a starting image is very easy to do, and sometimes for some models, you can even have a second finish image. But because the image movement is so subtle for what I'm looking for, if I use an identical start and finish image, I'll often end up with very little movement. Sometimes no movement at all. So what I'm going to do is have him start here and have him shuffle around on his desk. Then I'm going to take that video and reverse it. Okay, now I've got the 2 videos I want. I've got one where he looks up right away for 5 seconds, and I've got another video where he shifts in his seat for 5 seconds in a very un-Data-like manner, but that's okay because I only need 1 second of this. So now we go to where I do most of my work, which will be very unfamiliar to most creators. I know Photoshop and I know Illustrator, but I never learned Adobe Premiere or its competitors. But what I really am anyway is the developer and systems thinker. So since I started this project in late May, I've created a lot of scripts that do things that I want to do all the time. I call them spells because why not? And in this example, I will often want to reverse a video. So I have a script that I've written that will take a video, reverse it, and save it to whatever file name and file type that I want. And over time, I've created about 50 or so of these scripts. And at some point, I'll want a higher level way of thinking about it. But in the short term, it's fine, and it helps me understand the kinds of problems I want to solve easily, so that when I build something on top of it later, I'm building it having experienced these kinds of pains, as opposed to guessing what I think I might have wanted, and then it turns out I was only half right. So in this case, I can just type in reverse -I, then the video input, then -O, and the video output, and that's it. I know it works, but I often will include the -P flag to play it, to see how it looks. And, here it looks fine. Perfect. Now, what I want to do next is concatenate those two files, right? Because I want him to shuffle like he's working, and I know he's going to hear the beep, and he's going to look up, and he's going to say enter. So I'm going to concatenate this reversed video with the first video we created where he looks up. So in a similar way, I have a program that does this for me. I can concatenate in different ways, but in this case, I'm going to concatenate these two files by including their file names, and I'm going to save it to a new output name and pass it that same -P flag. Now, great, I have a 10-second video, but I don't want all 10 seconds, right? I just need to hear him hear the chime and say enter. I know exactly how long I want that to be because I've already created the audio file where he hears the chime and we hear data say enter. Now, maybe for the next video, if people are interested in it, I can show you how I create these audio files, including the voice work. So I can probe the file and see the audio file is just over 2.5 seconds. So maybe I want a 3-second video. So here we'll have the chime. He says enter, and there's a little bit of time where the camera is focused on him. In that case, I'll use a tool that underpins all the scripts that I've created all of the spells from, and that is called FFmpeg. Now, FFmpeg is a powerful video editing program, and it's beyond the scope of this video to walk through its capabilities, although I think it'd be amazing to talk about this program in more detail. But behind the scenes, FFmpeg is a command line tool that wraps a video library that almost all production video systems use. And not just video editing software, but players like VLC or your media player on Windows or the Mac. It can do a ton of things, of which I know how to do 1% off the top of my head. But since I know I can do almost anything with it, I can always look up how to get it to do something online through its documentation. In this case, I know how to get the 3 seconds of video I want from the full 10 seconds off the top of my head. So I can write this command. The -SS means starting from when. And I remember that this concatenated video was comprised of 2 5-second videos. So I'll just skip the first 4 seconds to get the last second of him working. Then the -T means how long should this video be? And we said about 3 seconds. So I'll give that, and then I'll save it to this output. Then after it completes, we can play it and see that we got a 3-second video that we like. Well, great. But now, how do we get data to say what we wanted him to say? This is where lip syncing comes in. And there's a couple of different tools that work well. I'm going to stick with the free pick tool that we're using today, but there are others as well. They all have different purposes, and another time I'll explain when I think one versus another makes the most sense to use for a shot. But lip syncing AI is pretty primitive, and if I give it the chime, it will have data open his mouth to make the chime sound, which is amusing, but I don't want that to happen in this video clip. So in that case, what I'll do is use this second video clip that I've got where it's silent for the first part. So it's the same 2.62 second audio clip. It's just silent till data says enter. In the tool, I'll upload the video and the audio file and let the application run, which can take a minute or two. Okay, so we've got the output, and you can see it's not 100% perfect, but it's pretty good.
Enter.
We see data say enter, and he has a lip quiver kind of artifact, but the video overall looks pretty good. So now the last step I want to do is add that chime, and I can do that in 2 ways. I can take the door chime audio by itself and play it on the first second of the video, or I can take the clip that has both and just replace the existing audio with it. Both work, and I have spells that will do both of these, but in this case, I will do the latter just because we've already seen that audio file. So in this case, I want to replace the audio of this video with that audio clip, and I want to save it with a new file name. And then, once we play it, we see exactly what we were hoping for, which is that he hears the chime, He looks up
Enter.
quickly and he says enter. And now I've got the shot.
Enter.
The first of what might be 35 to 40 shots for this scene. After all the shots are created, then they are standardized, and then they're listed out to be concatenated. Then, as I play through it, I may call an audible and change a script line. Then maybe I'll add some sound effects or ambient sound or music to the ending video, and then finally package it up for publication. And that's the meat and potatoes of how to make a shot. Some shots are slightly simpler, but many are more complicated. And I hope that was interesting. Definitely let me know if this was interesting to you, and if you want to see more of the behind-the-scenes content that I'm doing here. Would it be interesting to see how I compose all the shots into one, or maybe how I do the voice work for the characters? Let me know down below, and I'll address each one, and if there's interest, I'll do a video of it, or multiple videos. So I appreciate you staying here to the end, and I'll see you next time.